She flinched when I reached for her shoulders in the kitchen. No big scene, just a small twist away like my hands were hot. The dishwasher hummed. She stood with a dish towel she didn't need. Not in the mood, Erin said. Eyes on the sink, not on me. Hasn't been your mood for a while. I leaned on the counter. You want to tell me what changed? Nothing changed. She folded the towel once, then again, like she was packing a parachute. I've got stuff to do. If I'd known where that sentence was headed, I'd have cut the power at the breaker and called it a night. But I didn't. I tried one more time. You're checked out. I told her. Were you somewhere else? Which is it? Stop making everything heavy, Mark. She set the towel down like a period. Please. The only thing heavier than silence is silence that's trained to look like politeness. I let it sit between us. Then I made a choice. No more reaching for someone who's already halfway out the door. I didn't say it. I wrote it down inside and underlined it twice. Okay. I nodded. Then I'm going to make a couple changes. What changes? We'll get there. If I'd had the sense to read my own handwriting in that moment, I could have saved myself some miles. But I'm stubborn when I believe in a thing. I believed in us right up until the afternoon. I followed a sedan I didn't recognize into a quiet cul-de-sac and watched a welcoming porch light switch on. The next morning, I cooked eggs and slid a plate to her side of the island. Date night Friday. I said. No phones, no multitasking, just us. There's a little place by the lake. Live music, decent burgers. I can't Friday, she answered before the plate stopped skidding. Busy with what? Errands, laundry, groceries. I told you. She took her coffee to the sink, ran water for 3 seconds like she was rinsing a ghost cup, then set it aside. You need 3 hours for groceries now. Don't do that. She shot back. Don't interrogate. It's exhausting. I'm trying to schedule time with my wife. I kept my voice flat. If that's interrogating, we have a new dictionary at home. You always make me feel cornered. You're never home long enough to be cornered. She laughed once, an empty sound. Maybe I'm busy because someone has to keep this place running. I handle the yard, cars, insurance, the water heater you forgot to mention until it flooded the laundry closet. The point, she cut in, is I don't want the pressure of some forced-us night. It's fake. Good. Then here's what's real. I pulled out my phone, opened our shared calendar. I'm removing myself from errands where I'm an accessory with a wallet. If you want my time, ask for it with a slot, not a shrug. And until you figure out what mood you live in, I'm moving to the guest room. That keeps things clear. Her head snapped a fraction. That's dramatic. It's organized. We've been pretending the couch divide is an accident. I'm making it a plan. Budget's getting split, too. Your expenses, my expenses, shared list for the house. I'll email the spreadsheet at lunch. I don't need your spreadsheets. You do when my name pays for the clutter. She stared at me like I'd poured her coffee over the sink instead of water. You're punishing me. No, I'm not putting skin in a game I'm not allowed to play. I gathered my keys. There's a cookout at Tom and Dana's Saturday. We're either going as a couple and acting like one, or I'm not going. If you choose the first, I'll show up. If you choose the second, call a ride. That's petty. It's adult. I'm done standing next to you while you practice being elsewhere. I headed for the garage. She didn't follow. The eggs got cold where I left them. On my way to the truck, I texted Dana. I might be solo Saturday. Long story. She replied with a thumbs up, and come anyway. I told her I'd let her know. At the office, Miguel hovered near my cubicle with a stack of purchase orders. He's the one coworker who can juggle 3 jokes and a crisis in one hand. You look like a man who slept on a spare mattress. I'm testing the guest room. Hypoallergenic solitude. The deluxe package. Something like that. He studied me. You good? I'm not bad enough to be interesting. I signed the paperwork, and I'm not chasing anyone this week. That's the plan. That's a good plan, he said. Chasing is cardio for the clueless. You can quote me on that, I told him, and went back to work. Saturday came. We walked into Tom and Dana's backyard together, but it felt like parallel lines. She peeled off toward the women at the far table without a glance back. I grabbed a soda from the cooler, talked with Tom about the fence he keeps pretending he'll fix. Dana swung by me with tongs. You two okay? She asked quietly. We're trying to be, I replied. That's the status. Across the yard, I heard Erin before I saw her. Mark's date night thing. He's in a phase. He reads these articles, and then he's a life coach. It's cute, I guess. She saw me looking and smiled like I was part of the bit. Right, honey? I set the soda down. Dana, I said loud enough to carry, but not enough to perform. Thanks for the invite. I'm going to head out. Not in the mood to be a punchline. Erin, the truck leaves in 5. She tilted her head. Seriously? 5 becomes 4 in a minute. You're overreacting in front of people. I'm reacting exactly the same amount in front of people as you did. Tom raised his hands. Hey, it's fine. I told him. We're not breaking anything here. I walked to the gate. Erin didn't budge. I gave her the count I promised and left without the extra words she wanted me to give so she could swat it down. In the rear view, I saw Dana touch Erin's elbow. Erin pulled her arm away. That night, I moved my clothes into the guest room. Not a fight. Logistics. My suit's on the left rod, casual shirts on the right. My toolbox came in from the garage and went under the bed. I didn't slam doors. Noise is a message I wasn't sending. I set an alarm, woke early Sunday, and put in a mile on foot around the block. The air was cool and asked nothing of me. When I came back, the kitchen smelled like garlic and basil. Erin stood at the stove with 2 pans going. I made that pasta you like, she said without turning. I shouldn't have joked at Dana. It came out wrong. Thank you for dinner, I answered, and I meant it. I'll eat in a bit. She put a bowl in front of me. We could do a movie after? I've got invoices to wrap up for Monday. I took a bite, nodded. It was good because she's good at it. It didn't rewrite the week. We ate mostly quiet. She asked about Miguel. I told her his dog learned how to open the pantry. She laughed. Then she set her fork down and tried a line she hadn't used in months. I know I've been distant, she offered. Work's been heavy. What's heavy is asking for the truth and carrying excuses instead, I replied. But I appreciate the food. She blinked like I'd refused a sweater in January. So, we're just roommates now until respect shows back up? Yes, food's great, by the way. She went to bed early. I stayed up and itemized the joint account. Monday morning, I moved a chunk to my personal. I left enough for bills listed in a message to her. I told her any extra charges needed a text first. Clear rules beat unclear moods, I wrote at the end. She didn't respond. 2 days later, my midweek project ran late. We had a delivery stuck on the wrong side of town, and I took the long way back to avoid a wreck. I cut through Maine, past the little coffee place with the hanging lights. Erin's SUV sat 2 spots from the door. I pulled into a space across the street. Inside, through the glass, she sat at a corner table with a man I'd never seen. Not a colleague vibe, no laptop, no folders, just 2 people leaned forward, smiling at a private station only they could hear. She reached across the table and brushed something from his sleeve that didn't need brushing. The coffee went cold in my hand without me having bought it. I watched 10 minutes that told me everything I needed and kept all the specifics to themselves. When they stood, I angled my face to the window frame. They hugged. It wasn't a greeting hug. It was a parting hug that takes inventory. Then they went to their cars and rolled out in opposite directions like a practice drill. I followed him, not because I wanted to, because information beats suspicion every day of the week. He drove 10 minutes to a quiet neighborhood with mailboxes that matched. Pulled into a driveway. Porch light clicked on. A woman opened the door, kissed him, took his jacket. Not a sister, not a friend. Home. I sat a block down in the shadow of a truck under a sycamore. I didn't feel much. That sounds odd to people, but I don't do fireworks. I do math. The equation was ugly, but it balanced. I took 2 photos, the house number with his car and the front door when she reached for his hand. Then I drove home. Erin was in the living room folding laundry that didn't need folding. You're late, she said brightly. All good, I echoed. I'm going to shower. She didn't ask about my day, and I didn't offer her an exit ramp. I slept in the guest room and didn't count. The next afternoon, I parked a block from his street at 5:30, waited 20 minutes, and watched him leave in gym clothes. Short window. I walked to the house and rang the bell. The same woman opened the door with a polite smile that assumed I was selling something. Hi, I said. I'm Mark. I think we have a problem with overlapping calendars. Her eyes narrowed in a way that said she collects details before she spins words. Okay, can we talk for 5 minutes? On the porch is fine. I held up my phone. I'm not here to blow up your life. I'm here because mine's already smoking. She stepped out and pulled the door closed. I'm Lauren. Is this about Caleb? That's the name I didn't have. I showed her the photo of the house number with his car and the one at the doorway yesterday earlier. She looked at the screen, then at me, then past me into the street like she'd find a different answer there. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She breathed slow. Your wife, Erin, do you know how long? I know enough to stop guessing. Lauren leaned her shoulder against the post like she needed something to keep her vertical while the floor shifted. I thought it was work hours, extra clients. I thought mine was laundry. She let out a sound that wasn't a laugh. What are you asking from me? I'm not asking anything, I said, pointing at my chest. I'm telling Erin tonight calmly. I'm giving her 30 minutes to pack essentials and go to her sister's for a while. Papers will follow. You don't need to be in the room for that. But I think if you want this to be simple, Tomorrow around 6, you and I walk into my place together and have one conversation. She'll try to make it fog. 2 people clear it faster. After that, we go here and give you the same clarity. No screaming, just facts and a couple of photos. She can deny me. She can't deny you. Lauren looked at the door behind her. He's trained me to wait until after the next weekend, after the next big thing at work. I don't wait, I said. Not anymore. You don't have to either, but you choose that yourself. How do I know you won't turn this into a spectacle? Because I'm not 13, and because quiet consequences hurt more. She studied me, then nodded once. Tomorrow at 6, she said. Text me your address. She rattled it off, and I sent a message with my name. She added a period to the end of my text with her thumb, like that tiny dot gave it backbone. Lauren, I added. I'm sorry you're here. Me too, she said. But I'm glad you knocked. I left before Caleb came back. On the drive home, I rehearsed 2 sentences and threw away 10 others. At a red light, I looked in the mirror and told myself the truth. I didn't feel eager to win anything. I felt done losing. Aaron was on the couch. A sitcom laugh for both of us. I turned it off. I need you home tomorrow at 6, I told her. Why? Because I asked. You're being weird. I'm being clear. 6. She rolled her eyes. Fine. I slept hard. In the morning, she made coffee and slid a mug toward me like we hadn't said anything the night before. I was thinking we could try that burger place Friday, she offered lightly. I might have been rough about it last week. That's a good idea, I said. Let's see where we are after tonight. She reached across the island and touched my hand, thumb tracing a line she hadn't crossed in months. I miss us. I let the moment pass, then showed up at 6. She pulled back like she'd touched a switch she didn't recognize. You really want to do this formal? I really want to do this clean. At 5:58 the next day, I opened the front door before Aaron could ask why I was standing in the entry. Lauren walked in with a small notebook in her hand and a face that had already decided not to be broken. Aaron froze in the hallway. Who is this? This is Lauren, I said. She's married to Caleb. Aaron's face drained and then refilled with color like a bad TV signal. Are you kidding me? What are you doing in my house? Standing in the only honest spot you've left, Lauren answered, voice steady. Are you meeting my husband? That's insane. Aaron snapped. Mark, seriously? You bring strangers into our home to accuse me of. I raised a hand. You can throw dust or you can speak. Choose one. She glared at me, then at Lauren. You're confused. He helps me with a volunteer project. We meet at a cafe because it's convenient. And you touch his sleeve because charity? I asked. That's none of your. I held up my phone. Yesterday, you and Caleb. Cafe on Main. For 30. The hug in the lot. The drive to his address. Door opens. Lauren caught the rest. She opened her notebook and slid a printed photo across the console table. Her wedding picture. 2 smiling faces, younger by years, but unmistakably the same. Aaron's mouth worked through 3 denials, each smaller than the last. She tried to laugh, got halfway, let it drop. Okay, she said finally, like the word weighed what came next. It happened. Not a one-time stumble, Lauren said, tapping the table with her finger. You planned it. My guy has new grooming products and a gym schedule that doesn't add up. I know the shape of these things. Aaron's eyes flicked to me. We can fix this, she said quickly. You and me, we got lazy. What we got, I replied, is a new arrangement. You're going to pack a bag now and go stay with your sister. No theatrics, no speeches. I'll put together the paperwork tomorrow. Anything you need from the house, text me and I'll leave it on the porch. You can't just, I can. And I am. Lauren folded her arms. Not smug, just finished. Aaron looked between us, searching for the door that wasn't there. Then she tried the last tool in her drawer. She stepped close, put a hand on my chest, and softened her voice until it sounded like the first week we met. Mark, she breathed. I love you. I've been stressed. I need you. Don't end us over a bad phase. I'll go to counseling. I'll do whatever. I asked you for weeks, I said quietly. I got sarcasm and chore lists. I drew a line. You stepped over it with a smile. I'm not punishing you. I'm enforcing the rules of my own house. You'll thank me later for not turning this into a circus. She was quiet a long time. Then the fight came back into her posture. Fine, she snapped. You want me out? I'll go. Take the blue suitcase. Sister's probably expecting a call. I opened the hall closet, set the case down, and stepped aside. Aaron marched past Lauren without a glance. She went upstairs. Drawers opened and closed. Hangers slid. 15 minutes later, she came down with a coat over her arm and a look that wanted to scorch the paint off the walls. At the door, she spun. You're going to regret this. I don't regret clean exits, I answered. Lock it behind you. She left. The click echoed in the entry like a stamp. I exhaled through my nose and looked at Lauren. You good? No, she said honestly, but I'm not falling apart either. Tomorrow, I said. We stop by your place. Same routine. She nodded. 6 again. 6. I walked her to the porch. The evening air didn't feel like anything. That was perfect. The next morning, Erin texted a photo of her sister's guest room and a single sentence. I'll come by Friday for my things. I replied, list what you need. I'll leave boxes on the porch. She tried 2 more arguments by text, history, investments, the word, we, and I didn't engage. At lunch, I stopped by the bank and formalized the separate accounts. I updated the utilities to my name only. Miguel saw the stack of papers on my desk and whistled low. You're not wasting time, he said. I'm done donating time to a fund that pays me in disrespect. He grinned a little. That's a line. Keep it, I told him. I'm giving them away today. At 5:55, I parked 2 houses up from Lauren's place. The light in the front room was on. I knocked exactly at 6 o'clock. He opened the door, gym bag strapped across his chest like he was ready to jog past any conversation. Caleb, I asked like I wasn't sure. Yeah, can I help you? Lauren stepped into view behind me. Yeah, you can, she said. We're going to have a conversation without the usual fog. His face did the math in pieces. Me, Lauren, the time of day, the lack of smile. He went defensive. This is crazy. You can't just show up. I asked you questions for weeks, Lauren said, voice flat. You gave me bedtime stories. Now you're going to answer his. He tried to close the door. I put my hand on the edge without force, just a reminder of physics. We're not here to fight, I told him. We're here to align calendars. That doesn't even make sense, he snapped. I don't even know who you are. I'm the man married to Erin. Cafe on Main. 4:30 Monday. The hug in the lot. The drive home to your porch where my camera is better than your schedule. He stared at me like I'd spoken in another language. You followed me. I verified. I corrected. I pulled up the photos. This is your house. That's your car. That's your porch. This is you. Say coincidence slow so you can hear yourself. Lauren stepped around me and held up the wedding photo. And this is the day you promised basic decency. Don't do that, he barked at her. Don't make it so simple. It is simple, she cut in. You're not special. You just thought nobody would put the facts in a room together. He looked past us into the living room like the couch would rescue him. You two are blowing this out of the comfort zone you built, I finished. Here's what happens now. You and Erin both take some space. We handle logistics like adults. No crossed wires, no middle of the night speeches. You want to talk about property or accounts, you talk to your wife. Mine is packing boxes. Lauren folded her arms. I want you out for a week, she told him. I need breathing room to decide what I want to keep that isn't you. Take a bag. Leave the keys. You'll get a call when I'm ready to deal with the rest. You can't kick me out of my own. I can ask, she replied. And I can let the locks do the rest if you make it messy. He looked at me, hoping for a male solidarity he hadn't earned. You really okay with this guy showing up at our house? He threw at Lauren. You're siding with a stranger? He's not a stranger, she said. He's the only one in this entryway telling the truth. He swore under his breath. I didn't flinch. I don't escalate. I subtract. After a minute of pacing, he went upstairs, grabbed a duffel, and came down trying to make enough noise to feel like power. Lauren held out her hand without a word. He dropped the keys into her palm. The sound was small. He stopped in the doorway. You're making a mistake, he said to her. I made the mistake last year, she answered. This is the correction. He flicked a look at me. You think you win because you embarrass people? I win because I refuse to be embarrassed by the truth, I said. It's free and it fits everyone. He left. The door closed behind him with a steady click. Lauren sagged for half a breath, then straightened and slid the keys onto the console like they were a file she'd already archived. Thank you, she said. Not soft, just sincere. I didn't do it for thanks, I said, rubbing a hand over my jaw. I did it because I still like sleeping at night. You want water? She asked. I've got a truck in a quiet house, I said. That's as hydrated as I get. She managed a half smile. If you ever want a hiking buddy who keeps the pace and doesn't ask the wrong questions, call me. I might take you up on that, I replied. When I got home, Erin's boxes were stacked by the front door with neat handwriting on top. Shoes, dresses, bathroom. She was efficient when a deadline forced it. I'll give her that. A note sat on the island. We could talk. I flipped it over, found nothing, and put it under the magnet on the side of the fridge where I'd parked shopping lists. Then I changed the alarm code and sent her the temporary one that lasted 48 hours so she could finish the porch pickups. The next few days were strangely quiet in the way a room feels after you move a piano out. You realize how much it used to dominate the corners. I slept, I worked, I ate decent sandwiches over the sink because nobody insisted on plating them like a ceremony. Miguel came by my desk and set a coffee down. "How's the land of clarity?" he asked. "Peaceful," I said. Loud in my head sometimes, but peaceful. "You going to sell the house?" "Not yet. I built shelves in the garage with my own hands. I get to enjoy them for a while." Erin tried one more play the next weekend. She came by at noon, sunshine bright, hair done like the early days, a pie in one hand. She let herself in with the temporary code and found me in the garage replacing a light. "Hey," she said like we'd never met. "Thought I could bring dessert and we could talk like adults." "We are adults," I answered from the ladder. "That's why we're not pretending." She set the pie down on the workbench. "We're throwing away a lot, Mark." "Then stop tossing." I stepped down. "This is the last open visit after today. Porch only. It's not personal. It's policy." "A policy," she repeated, biting the word. "You really love your rules." "They love me back." She tried walking closer, fingers sliding along the workbench like she wanted to remind me of old projects, old afternoons. "We had 10 years," she said. "You really want to blow it all up over a few bad months." "You had 10 years," I corrected. "And you spent the last 6 months testing what you could get away with." "You're smart. You already know the answer. If there's something you need from the house, text me by 5. She looked at me for a long time. I met her eyes and didn't blink. Eventually, she nodded like surrender dressed as dignity. "You'll regret not forgiving," she said. "I don't regret clarity," I answered, "and I don't bargain for respect." She left the pie, which I gave to the neighbor kid who mows lawns like a business. Erin's car pulled away and didn't turn back. That was the last time she came inside. Papers moved at their own boring pace. I answered what needed answering and ignored invitations to rewind the story. Lauren texted me twice, a photo of a hiking trail, a link to a taco truck she swore by. We met a week later at a park. We didn't swap pain like trading cards. We walked 4 miles, talked about work, about houses, about how tired advice sounds when it comes from people who haven't had to use it. "People keep telling me to fight for my marriage," she said as we crossed a small bridge. "Like I'm lazy for not going 12 rounds." "Fighting isn't the same as keeping," I said. "Sometimes the fight is you telling the referee you're done, letting someone hit below the belt." She nodded. "You sound like someone who makes lists." "I do. And I check boxes like it's my job." We didn't become anything romantic. That wasn't the point. She became the person I texted when my house felt too big at 9 p.m. I became the person she called when she needed to hear a voice that didn't ask her to be cheerful. We got good at making simple plans. A Saturday morning coffee, a Sunday walk, a quick dinner after work. Our schedules became predictable in ways you only appreciate when you've had chaos dressed up as spontaneity. By the time the documents were signed, I traded cable for a better set of wrenches, turned the guest room into a small office, and taught myself to cook 2 new meals that didn't taste like apology. I bought a used boat with more scratches than shine and took it out to the lake at dawn, not because I turned into some outdoors hero, but because the water doesn't talk unless you ask it to. I heard through a neighbor that Erin moved into a small apartment across town. She kept it clean, got quiet, stayed off the holiday lists. Someone said she and Caleb didn't last past the 2nd month of being out in the open without secret meetings to prop it up. Apparently, practical schedules expose a lot of fantasy. From what I know, and I don't know much, they're not a pair anymore. It barely registered. Comfort's easy when someone else pays for it. Once you're financing your own quiet, you start hearing the truth loud. As for me, my circle tightened and got better. Tom and Dana came by with folding chairs that first weekend. I took the boat to the water and asked 0 questions. Miguel dragged me to a trivia night and heckled me every time I missed a question about state capitals. Lauren and I built a routine nobody could poke holes in. Real times, real arrivals, real goodbyes. We call each other friend without quotation marks. People find that suspicious. Let them. We're not in charge of their imaginations. Sometimes I think back to the kitchen, the dish towel, the first twist away. All the explanations in the world fit inside that recoil. I reached, she recoiled, and I kept reaching. That was on me. The last time I reached was to open my front door for someone who told the truth with me. That's the reach I'll keep. The night everything closed, Erin sent a short message. "I hope you're happy." I typed and erased a dozen lines, then answered with the only honest version. "I'm at peace." I wrote. "That's better. I don't miss the drama." I don't miss the game of translating silence into stories. I like waking up in a house where the calendar on the wall is mine and every plan written on it shows up when it says it will. I cook what I want. I keep tools where I can find them. I go out on the water with Miguel or sit on the tailgate and watch the sky turn without pretending it means anything. I spend real time with people who earn it, including a woman who knocked on her own door with me and chose the truth. The last time Lauren and I hiked, she stopped at the top of a small overlook and pointed out at the lake. "You ever think about the what ifs?" she asked. I used to, I admitted. Now I think about the what nows. "What's your what now today?" "Breakfast tacos," I said. "And maybe a nap." She laughed easy. "That's a strong plan." We headed down the trail. No grand speeches, no dramatic music, just two adults who survived something and built something better out of the same hours everyone gets. My ex and her co-architect of chaos can sort out their comfort without me. If they still see each other, it's none of my business. And if they don't, it's even less. When people ask me if I do anything different, I tell them this. I'd stop reaching sooner. I'd start enforcing sooner. And I'd still open the door at 6 for the only kind of conversation that ever fixes anything. The one you can back with facts and finish with a clean exit. Erin lost the one thing she'd been holding on to, control of the room. I walked out of that room with my back straight and my hands empty. Feels right. Feels earned. And when I lock my door at night, the only person I'm trying to impress is the man brushing his teeth in my mirror. He's not a fan of speeches. He likes plans. He likes results. He sleeps fine. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments. Drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories.